Just wanted to welcome you to the AFC Virtual Travel Show. My name is Will Reece, and I'm the marketing rep for AFC Vacations. And we're so excited to be moving into a new year and new growth in the travel industry. 2022 has some great destinations opening up, and it allows us to provide more trips to you, our travelers. Today's show will focus on two brand new itineraries for 2022. The Wonders of the Danube, October 29th, and the Seattle and San Juan Islands with Alaska Cruise on August 18th. I'll also be going over some of our special event tours for next year as well. And we're celebrating our 40th year in the travel industry and have some great trips in 2022. So I'll continue on with our presentation here. And what's different in travel now? At this time, there's a U.S. federal requirement that masks are worn on transportation, such as airlines and motor coaches. All of our tours require face masks be worn on the motor coach at all times, and there are more cleaning protocols put in place both at hotels, restaurants, and on board motor coaches. We're looking at the probability of going to vaccination requirements for 2022. Currently for 21, we do have proof of vaccination card, as well as the option of showing proof of recovery or a negative test within 72 hours. But we are soon going to be releasing a update for 2022 when it comes to vaccination. And what is AFC Vacations all about? Really, it's real people and real service. And our team of travel professionals have been with us for quite some time. They know our passengers, our products, and service levels, and they're outstanding at helping you plan and experience the many destinations we offer. AFC means affordable first class in everything we do. We try to make sure your experience is the best it can possibly be. And so here in our slideshow, you have Matt Kennel and our founder, Randy Case. And then on the right-hand side, that's our first group in the Canadian Rockies back in 1982. So 39 years in 2021, but 40 years in 2022, and we're really excited to celebrate that with you. And one of the components that really separates us is our home pickup airport service. As I talk to AFC travelers from all over the country, this is the one thing that comes up the most often when they talk about what makes AFC really special. We've been providing pickup from your home to the airport and back for over 25 years, and it continues to separate us from our competitors. It keeps you from worrying about where to park, what time you need to leave, or any of the other concerns you might have getting to and from the airport. We take care of all of it. And our tours are inclusive packages, and that includes airfare along with the pickup service. You have the choice between your closest airport or the airport of your preference. And we can also assist friends and family to join you from anywhere in the U.S., along with the option to upgrade to business or first class tickets. And we provide a value with our tours and try to save you as much money as possible with our many discounts. Our two most popular ones are our early booking discount saving and our single supplement discount. The single supplement offer can save single travelers up to 50% off their supplement. And with the early booking discount, you can save up to $350 per person. This is on a limited basis per tour and does sell out quickly. We actually still have the early booking available for the 40th anniversary cruise that I'll talk about here, but it's not going to be available for long. So please call after the show if you do want to get that savings. And our worldwide tours and cruises, we offer a variety in both destination as well as travel styles. Whether it's a tour to the national parks by motor coach, a train tour of Switzerland, or one of our many European river cruises we're offering in 2022. One of our most popular trips are our Unpack Once tours, and they stay the entire trip at one hotel, venturing out each day from there, and unpack your suitcase and you don't have to touch it again till the end of your tour. So there's no lack of options for our travelers. And when it comes to quality accommodations, not only are the destinations plentiful, but so are the accommodations and restaurants we choose. We stay at some of the most unique hotels around the world, including the Grand Hotel in Mackinac Island, the Palmer House in Chicago, and the Signature Courtyard Marriott in Sedona. So a lot of great properties. And our memorable dining experiences, not only are the hotels unique, but so are our dining choices. Whether it's a lobster feast in New England, New Orleans School of Cooking in Louisiana, or the California Rail Discovery that takes you on the Napa Valley Wine Train. Lots of great options here for different meals. And with our peace of mind travel, cancellation and travel protection are extremely important before and during your vacation. We offer an affordable and flexible travel protection plan to protect your travel experience, which offers a cancel for any reason benefit. AFC is also a member brand of USTOA, which is an elite group of the finest 50 tour operators in the U.S. This provides a $1 million traveler's assistance protection. As you book your travel, you should make sure the operator is backed by that USTOA brand. And we have a fantastic team of knowledgeable tour managers that are both fun, organized, and absolutely love what they do. And it shows in the communication with our passengers and the dedication to their job. They go the extra mile to make sure your trip is enjoyable. And in many cases, we publish which trips our tour managers run so that you can travel with the ones you connect with. And how do you book? Well, you can call us at our 1-800-369-3693 number, our local San Diego number. You can also email april@afctours.com, or if you visit us online, afcvacations.com, and go to the Forms and Info menu, you can select the reservations form and fill that out. So one of the things we wanted to remind folks that up until early next year, we're offering a 1-cabin category upgrade on the 40th anniversary Danube River Cruise, and that can be a savings up to $200 to $400 per person. So make sure you get on that. Again, it's only offered up until early next year. And then again, we are offering that early booking discount, just a few left for that 40th anniversary cruise. Now we are offering some show specials for booking with us after the show. If you book a 2022 tour or European river cruise by Tuesday, November 9th, we'll offer a $125 low-cost deposit. Additionally, if you book your travel protection plan at the time of your deposit, we'll take an additional $20 off. Add these on top of the other savings that we offer, and you really just can't beat our pricing. Again, you must use the code 40YEARS. That's the number 40, YEARS, when you do make that booking. And so where's your next AFC vacation heading? I'll be talking about a number of different destinations here as we go, but these are some great shots of folks as they were traveling along with AFC. And these upcoming tours have plenty of passengers to operate and will be running as scheduled, barring any unforeseen circumstance. You can see there are numerous trips over the next 3 to 4 months that are scheduled to go, so hop on board. And our mystery tours are a huge success and sell out nearly every departure. They're fun, unique tours with different components from many other trips. And when you book, you'll be advised how to pack, the average weather in the destination, and some helpful hints. About 3 weeks prior to departure, you'll be advised your flight schedule. And once you check in, you'll get your boarding pass and find out your first destination. The tour manager will meet you in baggage claim on arrival like every other trip. And over the course of the tour, they'll reveal tour components or give clues along the way. So these trips are for folks that have a sense of adventure and those who don't need all the details. Big trips coming up. One is the Seattle-San Juan Islands and Alaska cruise. This fantastic itinerary gives you some unique insight into the Pacific Northwest, coastal Canada, and the beautiful scenery of the southeastern portion of Alaska. And the unmatched tranquility of Alaska is seen most in the communities of Ketchikan, Sitka, and Juneau. And I'll talk more about those. This is a fantastic 10-day trip that leaves August 18th and is hosted by Deb Howard. And we'll start out by flying into Seattle, where you'll stay 2 nights, and then take a whale watch cruise the following morning through the San Juan Islands. And that's one of those activities that will stick with you for a lifetime. Beautiful jagged rocks sticking out from each island. And these islands are covered with white oak, Douglas fir, and western hemlock trees that make for some amazing contrast, along with the blue Puget Sound waters. The San Juan Islands are a peaceful archipelago, with San Juan, Lopez, and Orcas Islands having the highest populations. These are only reached by boat, ferry, or small plane, and it really is a spectacular section of scenery within the Northwest. Then you'll enjoy a complete Seattle city tour featuring the observation level of the famous Space Needle. That Space Needle was built for the World's Fair in Seattle, and get a chance to see the famous Pike Place Market as well before you head off on your cruise. So you'll board the MS Eurodam, which is Holland America's first signature class ship for your 7-night Alaska cruise. This was originally built in 2007, but renovated in 2018. On board, you'll have the beautiful stateroom, and you can choose from an inside cabin to one of the veranda choices. And there are so many activities and public spaces on board that it may take you the whole week just to see all this beautiful vessel. The entertainment on board is also exceptional, whether it's the Memphis and Motown Band and the B.B. King Blues Club, the classical music of the Lincoln Center stage, or cooking classes in America's Test Kitchen. There are also Broadway shows, concerts, comedians, and magicians inside at the main stage. So lots of activities and things to do. You could also go for a spa treatment. Now, one of my favorites is Juneau, and your first port of call will be Juneau after a morning of cruising. This is the capital of Alaska and one of the main hop-off points for the gold rush in the 1880s. You'll spend time in town, get a chance to learn about the gold history in Juneau, which produced nearly $7 billion in today's market of gold. Or you can head off on one of the many excursions. One of my favorites is out to Mendenhall Glacier, which you can see on the right, and see this fantastic 13-mile-long glacial ice feature. I took these pictures on the cruise up through Tracy Arm Fjord in May of 2012, and I used to lead groups of Australian travelers on these 7-night cruises with Holland America. One of the things that stood out was the side excursion to Tracy Arm that's available by smaller craft, and get up right next to the waterfalls and glacier here. Now, speaking of glaciers, the next day you'll continue north and see one of the most amazing sights by ship in Glacier Bay. This is one of those cruises that really pays off to have a veranda stateroom, and that allows you to go out onto your deck for a private viewing of Glacier Bay. Enjoy room service while the captain pivots the ship around the bay so that people on all sides can take in the magic of the glacier and its surroundings. Your next port of call will be in Sitka, Alaska. And back in the 1790s, Sitka and a number of other Alaskan communities were settled by Russians. Sitka still has much of its Russian past on display. And with this port, most large ships will anchor in the bay and then tender you into the marina. One of my favorite things to do in this town is to take a walk past the marina and through the woods over to the Alaska Raptor Center. And here you can see a number of protected wildlife species like bald eagles on the mend until they're ready to be released back into the wild. And there are a number of excursions out that day as well from the ship, including the Otter Quest in search of wildlife, as well as a beautiful opportunity to kayak. And Ketchikan, from Sitka, you'll make your way. And this is the salmon capital of the world. You'll try your hand at salmon fishing if you'd like. And there's really nothing like pulling up a king or sockeye salmon with how they fight. Then you could also head off on an excursion to the Saxman village to learn about the ancestral nations of Alaska, including the Tlingit, the Haida, and my ancestors, the Tsimshian people. Much of the culture is based around cedar trees with their longhouses and canoes, as well as the wildlife around them, especially the orca whale. Then it's off to Victoria, and you'll stop in Canada for a customs point and have some time to enjoy downtown Victoria at night. And this beautiful community was settled by the British in 1843, still keeps the British charm, and has all sorts of hanging baskets and beautiful floral displays. You can see the Empress Hotel and the Parliament buildings all lit up at night. You may also choose to stay on board for the final night of the cruise to celebrate with your fellow travelers. So again, this is a fantastic trip that ends back here in Seattle. This is a shot I took of the downtown skyline. And really, there's no better time to see both Seattle and Alaska than in July and August. May and June are usually a little cooler, but by the time peak summer hits, these two areas really shine. Next, we'll talk a little bit about the city to the south of Seattle, about 3 hours to the south, known as the City of Roses, and that is Oregon Trails and Portland Rose Festival. So this is a one-time departure for 2022, June 9th, a 6-day trip. We'll start out by heading up to Mount St. Helens, and you'll learn about the deadliest volcanic eruption in the U.S. It was a 5.1 earthquake that set off an eruption that sent the world's largest debris avalanche down the face of the mountain, taking out trees and everything in its path down the slope. Then you'll come back to Portland for an afternoon of city sightseeing, including the famous Rose Test Garden, and there are over 10,000 individual rose bushes being cared for. Then you'll head off to the Pittock Mansion for a self-guided tour of the home of Henry and Georgiana Pittock. And Henry was the editor of the Oregonian newspaper, and his wife started the Rose Society with neighborly visits to her rose garden. The next day begins by heading to the Rose Festival to see the floats, flowers, and fun. This is one of the biggest events in the state of Oregon, and one not to be missed. And we'll visit the Grand Floral Parade, which is a stunning display of floats, both large and small. And mixed in are Portland area high school marching bands, dancers, equestrian teams, and the crowning of the Rose Court. So it really is a great experience. The second half of the day is on your own to explore at leisure. You could go to Powell's Books, which is the largest bookstore, and features about 6 stories of both books and music and a fantastic rare book section. You could also venture out to Voodoo Donuts for a unique treat there. Then the next day we'll head out to the Oregon coast. And from there, we'll head to Astoria. You'll get a chance to visit the famous Fort Clatsop, where the Lewis and Clark Corps of Discovery spent their last winter before returning home after reaching the Pacific Ocean. The fort tells its own history of the Northwest Native Americans in the area and the interactions between the Corps. Make your way south from there to Tillamook with stunning views along the route of the coastline, and enjoy one of the best dairies in the western U.S. with a stop at the Tillamook Cheese Factory and sample some of the goods. One of their specialties is ice cream, and I highly recommend it, especially the blackberries, which are picked locally. You'll wrap up this tour with a visit to Multnomah Falls, which you can see in the upper left-hand corner. And it's almost like something out of a J.R. Tolkien book. An upper and lower falls are split by a pool of water and can be seen on the Benson Bridge above. Then it's off to the Columbia River Gorge for the stern wheel cruise along the Columbia. And there you'll learn about the native fishing styles, as well as more information on the Lewis and Clark expedition as they paddle down the mighty Columbia. Then you'll get a chance to see some of the stunning views of Mount Hood off in the distance and stop at the Bonneville Dam, which was built in the 1930s and stands about 170 feet above the water. Our next departure is the New Mexico Balloon Fiesta, and this is one of the most popular experiences to take in throughout the United States as a major event. It's a bucket list item and surely one you can't miss. You'll fly into Albuquerque for 2 nights, and the following day you'll have 2 chances to see the balloons take off. First, early in the morning, set off for the Mass Ascension. As the sun rises over the hills, the balloons fill up and begin to take off. Then you'll spend the afternoon relaxing, grabbing lunch, or wandering Albuquerque, and then return for the balloon glow at night. These beautiful balloons light up, and it's really quite a scene. The next day, you'll make your way to Santa Fe for 3 nights and discover the Laredo Chapel and a number of other highlights of the city. Then head off for a day trip to Taos and Chamayo's El Santuario, which is one of the oldest standing sites in the Southwest. And for this tour, we have 2 departures for 2022, September 30th and October 7th. It was so popular this year, we added another date. Then we have the San Antonio Fiesta. This is a great Unpack Once tour where you'll stay 4 nights in San Antonio. It includes a welcome and farewell dinner, all your breakfasts, and some exceptional sightseeing. Head up to Austin, which is the state capital of Texas, and enjoy some time at the Lyndon B. Johnson Library. Then some sights of the University of Texas and the state capitol building. Also on this day, you'll make a visit to the Lady Bird Johnson Wildflower Center. You'll enjoy a San Antonio city tour and learn about the Spanish and Mexican periods in Texas, and stop off at the Mission San Jose, and then head back into town to experience an IMAX movie and learn about the Alamo. Once the movie's complete, we'll head over to the actual Alamo to explore the grounds of one of our country's most famous battles. And then take a famous boat ride down the famous River Walk, which is its most popular attraction. And end the day with a ride up the Tower of Americas for dinner. The next day, you'll head out to the hill country just north of San Antonio and visit the LBJ Ranch. And that was a working cattle ranch through his presidency. You'll get a chance to see his home, where he had a TV in just about every room to make sure he stayed up on the latest stories in the news. And then it's on to Fredericksburg for a stop to grab some lunch, explore the German-themed town, and possibly visit the National Museum of the Pacific War. And that's got great details about the Second World War in the Pacific Theater. And the parade upon returning back into San Antonio that evening is the Texas Cavaliers River Parade, or Fiesta. And this was started in 1941 and focuses on floats with bright flowers, vibrant colors, and is sponsored by local businesses as well as the Army. So a lot of different components of our military here. And our Washington, D.C. Cherry Blossoms Tour. This is a 6-day trip with 5 nights, focusing in the nation's capital as you get a chance to see some of the beauty of April as the cherry blossoms are coming into full bloom. So fly into D.C. and enjoy a welcome dinner on the first night. Then your second day includes a visit to the Arlington National Cemetery with its 639 acres of memorials to the soldiers who served our nations. Arlington became a national cemetery in the midst of the Civil War, and at its founding was an area of 200 acres in 1864 on the site previously owned by Robert E. Lee. Then don't miss a chance to see the changing of the guard at the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier, which is a tribute to the men and women who couldn't be identified after battle. Then it's off to the White House Visitor Center to learn about the executive mansion and presidential families. And that's followed up by making your way to the Tidal Basin, where you'll see the Jefferson, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, Martin Luther King Jr., and World War II memorials, which are all clustered together. And one of our days, you'll spend a day in the Smithsonian Institutes along the Capitol Mall, and this provides you the choice of which museum you'd like to see. And then after that, we'll board the Odyssey 3, which is a ship for a cherry blossom cruise. And that cruise has narration as well as a live band and an excellent meal. The following day, we'll head over to the Ford Theater, which was the infamous site of Abraham Lincoln's assassination. Visit the museum on the lower level before taking a walk through the main theater atrium. And from there, you'll leave the city for Annapolis and get a chance to have lunch on your own before beginning an Annapolis city tour, which features the U.S. Naval Academy. On the last full day, you'll get a look inside the U.S. Capitol at the Capitol Visitor Center and take a tour inside, and it's highlighting the U.S. lawmaking process. Then it's off to Mount Vernon, which was George and Martha Washington's estate to the south of the city, for a self-guided tour of the property. You'll get a chance to spend some time in the Education Center to learn about George Washington's story, and then see the working farm along with Washington's tomb. So this is an April 6th departure, only one date for 2022, and it is selling out quick. Now, as we work our way through, I'll talk about the wonders of the Danube River Cruise. And this is our 40th anniversary European river cruise, which is going to be fun, exciting, and very special. Arrive into Budapest for your experience on the Danube River, and this is hosted by Deb Howard and Chris McCool. Head over to the Amadeus Star once you arrive for 7 nights aboard this beautiful ship. And Budapest is a city unlike any other. The Parliament building sits on the edge of the river, as you can see in the upper right and bottom left. And then the Buda Castle overlooks the city from the hillside. And it still holds some of its Eastern European style and also incorporates some modern components as well. From there, we'll work our way over to Bratislava. And it was a real highlight for me when I first went there. It's usually the unexpected areas that turn into some of your favorites. And the Old Town is charming. It's got restaurants, as you can see in the bottom slides, and cafes and shops lining both sides of the streets. And these streets are cobblestone. You'll see the home of the Philharmonic Orchestra, along with the Palace and St. Martin's Cathedral on the city tour. From Bratislava, we'll continue over to Vienna for the following day with a city tour featuring the Hofburg Palace, the Vienna Opera House, and Ringstrasse. Then one of the unique little towns along the river, we'll stop in Dürnstein in the Wachau Valley, which is famous for its wine. And this quiet little village is a nice change of pace from the metropolis of Vienna. And an optional winery tour is available that afternoon. Then it's on to Linz, and that'll be our hop-off point for a day trip to Salzburg and learn all about the sound of music. From Salzburg, we continue up the river to Regensburg, which mixes Bavarian-style homes in its medieval city center. And from there, you'll have the choice to visit the Danube Gorge and Wettenberg Abbey for a beer tasting. And that night on board will be a Bavarian-themed evening to wrap up the cruise, but we also have a large gala dinner farewell the night before, and that allows you a little bit more time to pack on that last night. And on this departure, we also offer a 2-night extension to Prague, as it's relatively close from Passau, where we end the trip. Those not on the extension will fly home from Munich in Bavaria. So here's a shot of Passau, which is where we end, and Regensburg. And our next departure is one of the biggest events in the entire world, which is the Oberammergau Passion Play. Now that Europe's opening more to vaccinated travelers, it provides an incredible opportunity to see this amazing event, which only happens every 10 years. In this case, it's been 12 due to the pandemic, and it's fitting that this 1633 dated play happened during a significant pandemic as well. The citizens of Oberammergau vowed to perform the story of Jesus Christ every 10 years, as long as the town wasn't affected by the plague. It turned out that the town was spared during that period. So we have 3 departure dates, one July, August, and September, and you'll fly into Munich for a 2-night stay and enjoy a city tour featuring the Marienplatz and the 4th largest Glockenspiel in the world. You can also see the Hofbrauhaus, famous for their local beer. From Munich, it's on to Oberammergau, and you'll stay in the area for 1 night to get a chance to see this performance of a lifetime. The play is broken down into 2 parts and separated by an included dinner in town. And the production involves over 2,000 performers, musicians, and residents of the village, and incorporates the 16 acts from the Garden of Eden to the resurrection. So really great experience to see. After a 1-night stay in the area, you'll continue your journey with a stay in Salzburg, made famous by the sound of music. And en route to Vienna, stop in Mondsee with some popular sites of the sound of music filming. Then a Danube River cruise awaits to get a taste for life next to this very important water source. And we then stay 3 nights in Vienna, and that includes a city tour and optional trip to the Schönbrunn Palace, which is one of the UNESCO World Heritage Sites. And this tour winds down with a farewell dinner, or you can choose to also extend your trip for 2 nights to the magical city of Prague in the Czech Republic. So how do you make a reservation? Well, you can call our 1-800 number, email april@afctours.com, visit us at afcvacations.com, and go to the forms section. But again, make sure you use the savings code 40 years for these special savings. Just again, a reminder, the 1 category upgrade offer for our 40th anniversary river cruise, which saves $200 to $400 per person. And some of our show specials I'll touch base on. If you book by Tuesday, November 9th, using the savings code 40 years, you can also take $20 off per person off your travel protection plan. So $125 low-cost deposit and an additional $20 off your protection plan. Use the code 40 years to make sure you get those savings. Thank you again for attending, and any email questions you can send to april@afctours.com. Hope you enjoyed the presentation, and take care.